Welcome again to my YouTube channel. And today we will talk about identity and personality, which I feel like I could talk about for probably 4 or 5 hours my whole entire life. And yeah, I think I want to take it today into the lens of like attachment and into the lens of how we interact with the world as ourselves through different characters, through different performances, through different projections, because we're just in a big theater play. This is all just a game of masking and unmasking constantly, and the ways in which we appear to other people is constantly being filtered through their own mirroring process, and there is so much that the world projects onto us and demands of us, and there are so many expectations. So it's just that's why I feel like we could talk about it for a whole lifetime because it's just infinite. But today I kind of want to approach it again, maybe being more specific about how playful and how liberating it is to slowly and, you know, with time, dismantle and detach from all characters and to become all of them too, and to allow ourselves to really play in the sea, in the waving of becoming and unbecoming so many things in our lifetimes. Um, in this case, I kind of want to start with talking about personality and temperaments and ways of behaving that are really created like in our early life, and how yes, like our family or our environment really nourished or encouraged certain parts of our personalities to really come forward and to be developed within ourselves, within our psyches, like qualities that were asked from society in general, but also just from the current environment that we're around us. And if we grew up with a big family, a small family, it all goes into certain qualities that are more like encourage, and depending too on the culture, what role in the culture you play, there's archetypes that we really develop more than others because they were just really really put onto a pedestal, and like, okay, Océane, this is what you are aiming for in this lifetime. This is the ground that we laid for you, is, you know this is what you should shoot towards. As the Sagittarius that I am, is I was aiming at a lot of things in life, and missed a little bit of the aim sometimes. So within that, we kind of get attached to certain ways of behaving or certain ways of showing up in life that uh that gave us a ticket to validation in early on, and gave us a ticket to acquiring the possibility of safety and the possibility of connection with the people who were demanding stuff from us. And then we enter a playground as we grow old, and we come in contact with different people, and we come in contact with different cultures, with different ways of seeing and being in the world, where we get choice and we get to play a little bit if we're open to detach from it, and if we have enough safety to detach from our original like blueprint that was encouraged in us. We get to maybe explore different types of being and different ways of, you know, interacting in the world. And what I find so interesting is the more we are attached to the version of us who got really a lot of validation, I feel like also the more suffering we might feel with time, because we have kind of constructed a version of us that only exists through the validation of others. And yeah, I've been exploring this really, really a lot recently because I feel like, anyways, we're all playing characters all the time and they're always changing. Like, there is not one version of us that exists permanently. There is not one version of us that exists in a time space that is like, this is you. This is Océane. I can tell it's her because of this. No, I don't agree with that. And I don't feel like this is liberating for the psyche because I think a healthy psyche, which is a healthy way of relating with our inner archetypes and everything that can or will um, dictate our behavior, like the archetypes that we really vibe with in our psyches are maybe the ones that we portray most, and the ones that we don't vibe with in our psyche are the ones that we push away, but they still control us just as much, if not more, like the things that we really push away and say like, no, this will never be me. um so the more the psyche is healthy and the more the psyche is like related to in a way where every archetype is welcome to be expressed, the jokester, the trickster, the confrontational person, the manipulator, the liar, the um trick yeah, I said trickster. The person that, yeah, tricks people, the person that, the archetype that really gets expressed, the more that we get acquainted to them, the more we get to play too without attaching ourselves to certain specific versions of ourselves, because we know they're just always in ebbing and flowing and in exploration of who we can be in this world, in different environments, in different contact with people. Like, there is not one version of you that is the same in people's minds or in people's experiences of you. There might be patterns that people can like agree upon, I guess, like, oh, I've always experienced this with this person and this is very similar for me, and I have like a similar experience to, you know experiencing this person like this. But at the same time, like, it's always within the dynamics and within the context. Like, it's never actually exactly the same. And we all perceive through the lens of wounding, through the lens of maybe the love we had for someone, to the lens of trauma. Like, there is so much that goes into play with that. And so I think the more that we are attached to certain versions of ourselves or certain like ways of expression of our being, the less we get to play, actually. The less we get to play and to, not like perform the same thing all the time and try to be like consistent with our image and try to be like consistent with the way that we appear in the world. Try to be, because, I don't think consistency in showing up as yourself is the same as consistency in like doing something every day. Like, consistency in showing up as yourself means being authentic to the moment. So not faking the moment as it comes, as it arises, as it's transmitted through you, as it's going through your vessel, and every experience shape you and you shape every experience. So this conversation, this dialogue too that we're having with the moment and that it shapes us, it's never gonna come through in the same way. So being consistent in being you is actually letting go of all preconceived notion of who you should be in the world, of who you should, present to the world and what that expression should look like. It is completely dismantling the way that we should show up in front of others and also with ourselves. Like, I think it's an incredible amount of pressure to put onto ourselves to show up in the same way every fucking day. Like, yes, okay, it could be really helpful for security and for a sense of self that feels like it has references and like orientation. Like, okay, I know that this is me every day in the mirror, but like also getting to play with different expressions of your being that come through when you're shaped by the expression of someone else, when you're shaped by the expression of a certain environment. Like, that is so liberating in itself if you allow yourself to go there and you're not like, oh, this is not me. I wouldn't do that. And but slash and, I think it also requires an incredible amount of, yeah, detachment from like what you're interested in, what your hobbies, and like really describing your being with like lists of things. It kind of has to go out of the door. It kind of has to go with like, I am nothing and everything at the same time. It kind of has to be radical, in a way. However, like, I'm talking about all of this, and I know, for example, I gravitate towards certain things. I have like a certain personality type, and I have hobbies that are very like niche, or, have a very specific like tone to them. And I feel like, but also we could be surprised. Like, I'm watching sometimes video of like electrical engineering stuff for hours, and I'm just like, this is really interesting and I want to get into this. Like, it's not something that people maybe would perceive in me in the first impression, but like, we are all magic boxes. We are all Hermione's bag in Harry Potter when she opens it, and it's just like infinite stuff in there. Like, we are all these types of boxes. And so I think the flesh, the body, the vessel, the way we look like is one thing that we present to the world, but I'm more talking about like what we do and our expression, like the way that we talk, the way that we move, the way that we dance, to allow this expression to be more various. Because some things are just, yeah, biology, DNA, like, there's, you can't tweak every single thing in yourself. But you can definitely play with expression in other ways, and definitely play with your personality, quote unquote, who you are, like who you're making yourself to be in this world. This is where I'm coming from. And obviously, being a Gemini rising, which is a way to box things, I agree. Astrology is a way to box things. I am like this. But having mutable energy also allows for that. Um, Having mutable energy helps with the shapeshifting, if you would call it that, or playing with expression of the self. Now, just what I thought in my head is like, I was looking at the time and I was like, I feel like I always talk for like 11, 13 minutes. And then my brain goes like, okay, we're done. And I was wondering in this moment, like, very interesting. Was I doing a lot of like PowerPoint sessions when I was in school, and I thought like 13 minutes was the time mark? Where is that coming from in my body? Like, why after 13 minutes I'm like, wrap it up, sweetie. Like, yes, and authenticity, just to come back on that, like, you know, part is such a big word that everybody uses. What does it mean? Meeting the moment with full presence, for me, is authenticity. And if we want to like add a description under to kind of get more precise or more detailed about what I mean when I say meeting the moment with presence, it is not lying to yourself, not lying from your body's experiences and what you're thinking, how you're feeling, the way you want to move, the way you want to do a little tweak, feeling into the moment and expressing it and not lying to yourself. That is being That is being authentic to the moment. So, yeah. Um, Last little thing I wanted to share is I'm going to start inviting people on here and interviewing them and asking questions and having dialogues about, yeah, various topics, alternative topics, all types of topics. And I would like to know if you're still here, if that is something that you would like to see. And yeah, thank you for being along for the ride and for this journey. With love and gratitude always. Thank you for being here as you are.